The medical station hung in the darkness of space like a silver wheel, slowly turning between two worlds. Inside, Wu wiped down the counter in the blood laboratory for the third time that day. His shift had been quiet, which was exactly how he liked it. The alarm shattered the silence. Red lights flooded the hallway outside. Wu's communicator buzzed against his wrist. Doctor's voice came through, tight with stress. Wu, get to emergency room 3. Now, bring the universal diagnostic kit. He grabbed the kit and ran. His footsteps echoed in the empty corridor. The station suddenly felt different, dangerous. Through the windows he saw ships surrounding the station. They were vessels, smooth and crystalline, reflecting starlight like diamonds. The emergency room doors opened with a hiss. Wu stopped in his tracks. A girl lay on the medical table. Her skin was pale blue like ice over deep water. Strange markings covered her arms and face, geometric patterns that seemed to glow faintly. Her body shook with violent tremors. Around her stood 6 alien guards, tall and elegant, their hands resting on weapons. "She's dying," doctor said. She stood beside the table, her hands moving quickly over a medical scanner. "Princess of the Empire. Someone poisoned her during the peace talks." Wu set down his kit. "What can I do?" "Her blood is breaking down. The poison is destroying her cells faster than we can replace them." Doctor pulled up a holographic display. The princess's blood looked wrong, fragmenting like shattered glass. "We need compatible blood, but there's none available. The nearest supply is 3 days away." "She doesn't have 3 days," said a tall man. His robes marked him as important. "She has perhaps 3 hours." Doctor's jaw tightened. "I have an idea, but it's dangerous." She pulled Wu aside. Her voice dropped to a whisper. "I've been studying biology. Their blood is crystalline-based, completely different from ours. But the core function is the same, carrying oxygen, fighting infection. I think human blood might stabilize her system temporarily." "You think?" Wu stared at her. "Has this ever been done?" "No, never. It could save her, or it could kill her instantly." Doctor looked back at the princess. "But she's already dying. This might be her only chance." "What about the human donor?" Wu asked. Doctor met his eyes. "I don't know what it would do to them. The blood might reject it. It could cause organ failure, paralysis, death." The princess screamed. Her body arched on the table. The guards moved closer, their hands glowing with some kind of energy. One of them spoke in a harsh, clicking language. The important man turned to Doctor. "Ambassador says if she dies here, it will mean war. My people will blame humanity for failing to save her." Wu didn't think. He rolled up his sleeve. "Test my blood." Doctor grabbed his arm. "Wu, you heard what I said. This could." "I heard you." He climbed onto the second medical table. "We don't have time to argue. Test my blood. If it's compatible, use it." Doctor hesitated for only a moment. Then she moved. Her hands were steady as she drew his blood. The scanner hummed, analyzing the sample. Numbers and charts filled the holographic display. "Your blood has unusual protein markers," Doctor said slowly. "I've never seen this pattern before. It might actually work." The princess convulsed again. Foam appeared at the corners of her blue lips. The guards raised their weapons. "Do it," Wu said. Doctor connected the tubes. Wu felt the needle slide into his arm. It was cold, colder than it should be. The machine started pumping. He watched his blood flow through the clear tube, bright red against the white walls. They watched in silence. Their expressions were hard to read. They didn't show emotion the way humans did. Wu's head began to spin. Doctor checked the monitors. "That's enough. We need to stop." "How is she?" Wu asked. "No change yet." Doctor started to disconnect the tube. "Wait," Wu grabbed her wrist. "Take more." "Wu, you've already given more than is safe." "She needs it. I can feel it." He didn't know how he knew, but something in his chest told him the princess needed more, much more. "Take it." Doctor looked at the princess, then back at Wu. She reconnected the tube. The room tilted. Wu's vision blurred. He could hear Doctor shouting, but her voice sounded far away. His blood kept flowing, kept pumping into the dying princess. Then everything went dark. When Wu opened his eyes, he was staring at a white ceiling. His body felt hollow, like someone had scooped out his insides. He tried to sit up and failed. "Stay down." Doctor appeared above him. She looked exhausted. "You gave twice the safe amount. You almost died." "The princess." Doctor smiled. It was a tired, confused smile. "Alive, stable, your blood worked. It bonded with her crystalline cells somehow. I've never seen anything like it." Wu let his head fall back. Relief washed over him. "Good." "Wu," Doctor's voice changed. "There's something else, something strange." She held up a scanner showing two images side by side. One was the princess. Her crystalline markings were glowing with a faint red light, the color of human blood. The other image showed Wu. His veins were visible under his skin, but they looked different, sharper, more geometric. "What is that?" he asked. "I don't know." Doctor zoomed in on the princess's image. "But ever since the transfusion, her body has been changing. The red glow in her markings isn't fading. It's getting stronger. This has never happened in history." Through the window of the recovery room, Wu could see the princess. She was sitting up now, looking at her own hands with what might have been wonder. As he watched, she turned her head. Her eyes met his through the glass. Something passed between them, a feeling like electricity, like recognition. Wu's heart jumped in his chest. The princess touched her hand to the glass. The crystalline markings on her arms blazed bright red. Wu felt something warm spread through his veins. He looked down at his arms. Under his skin, faint geometric patterns were beginning to appear, glowing with a soft blue light. "Doctor," he said quietly, "I think we have a problem." The doctor was already staring at the scanners, her face pale. "This isn't just a transfusion anymore. Your blood and hers, they're connected somehow. Linked." The door opened. Ambassador entered, his face grim. Behind him came more, dressed in ceremonial robes. One of them wore a crown of crystal that seemed to contain frozen starlight. "The Empress has arrived," said, "and she is not pleased." Empress Lyra was more beautiful and more terrifying than any being Wu had ever seen. She moved through the medical station like a winter storm, cold and unstoppable. Her crystalline crown caught the light and threw rainbow patterns across the walls. Every in the room bowed as she passed. She did not bow to anyone. "Where is my daughter?" Her voice was like wind over ice. Doctor stepped forward. "Your Majesty, Princess is recovering well. The treatment was successful." "Treatment?" Empress Lyra's eyes, brilliant blue and utterly alien, fixed on the doctor. "You contaminated royal blood with human cells. You have committed an act of biological warfare." "I saved her life," Doctor said firmly. The Empress moved to the window overlooking the recovery room. Princess sat on the bed, still examining her hands. The red glow in her markings pulsed steadily, like a heartbeat. "What have you done to her?" The Empress's voice was quieter now, but no less dangerous. Before Doctor could answer, the door to the recovery room opened. Princess walked out. She moved differently than before, more fluid, more certain. When she saw her mother, she stopped. "Mother," she said. Her voice carried emotions that voices usually didn't have. Warmth, relief, something almost like joy. Empress Lyra stepped back. "You sound different." "I feel different," looked at Wu, still lying on the medical bed. "He gave me his blood. He saved my life. He asked for nothing in return." "The human had no right." "The human had every right." His voice rose, and everyone in the room stared. Royalty did not raise their voices. They did not show anger. "I was dying. He chose to help. This is not contamination, Mother. This is a gift." Wu watched the scene unfold, feeling increasingly uncomfortable. He tried to sit up. The room spun, and he fell back against the pillow. Immediately, Princess gasped. She grabbed her chest. Something's wrong. Doctor checked both their monitors. Your vital signs just spiked, both of you, at the exact same moment. The door burst open. A young woman ran in, her hair pulled back in a messy ponytail. She carried a portable scanner and a tablet covered in notes. I analyzed the blood samples you sent. You need to see this. Wu blinked at his sister. What are you doing here? I work in xenobiology on level 7. When I heard you nearly died donating blood, I came as fast as I could. One shoved the tablet at Doctor. Look at this. The human and cells aren't just compatible. They're bonding, creating something entirely new. Doctor scrolled through the data, her eyes growing wider. This is impossible. It's happening. One pulled up a holographic model. Red and blue strands twisted together, forming new patterns. They share a biological connection now. I think their nervous systems are linked. Linked how? Empress Lyra demanded. One looked nervous but continued. Based on these readings, they can sense each other, emotions, maybe even thoughts, and there's more. When I ran the distance calculations, she hesitated. Tell me, the Empress said. If they're separated by more than 100 meters, both of their bodies start to shut down. The pain would be extreme, possibly fatal. Silence filled the room. Wu stared at Princess. She stared back. He could feel something now, a presence in the back of his mind. Warm, curious, afraid. You feel it too, whispered. I can sense your confusion, your fear. I can feel yours, Wu said. You're scared of what your mother thinks. Empress Lyra's expression hardened. This cannot stand. The royal bloodline has been pure for 10,000 years. We will find a way to reverse this. No, Princess moved to stand between Wu and her mother. I will not let you harm him. Harm him? Daughter, I am trying to help you. He is part of me now. I am part of him. His markings flared brighter. If you hurt him, you hurt me. A guard stepped forward. Your Majesty, the Galactic Council has sent a communication. They demand an investigation into unauthorized genetic modification. Empress Lyra closed her eyes. Of course they do. Doctor cleared her throat. Your Majesty, may I suggest we focus on understanding this bond before trying to break it? We might learn something valuable. Valuable? The Empress's laugh was bitter. My daughter is bound to a human. The Council will use this as evidence that humans are dangerous, that they should be restricted, contained. This could destroy the alliance we've been building for years. Or it could strengthen it, one said quietly. Everyone turned to look at her. She swallowed hard but continued. Think about it. A human and a connected on a cellular level, working together, surviving together, that's not weakness, that's evolution. Wu watched Princess. She was changing right before his eyes. Her movements, her expressions, even the way she stood. She seemed more alive than any he'd ever seen. How do you feel? He asked her. Considered the question. Strange, good, I feel things I've never felt before. When I look at you, I feel, she struggled for the word. Grateful, connected, safe. She looked at her mother. These are human emotions, aren't they? Yes, Empress Lyra said softly. They are. I like them, smiled. It was small and uncertain, but it was definitely a smile, didn't smile. I like feeling this way. Wu felt warmth bloom in his chest, but it wasn't his warmth. It was hers, reflected back at him through their connection. He smiled back. The monitor beside them started beeping. Doctor grabbed her scanner. Both of you stay calm. Your heart rates are synchronizing. Your brain waves are matching patterns. This bond is getting stronger. Can you break it? Empress Lyra asked. I don't know, maybe. But it would require surgery on both of them. Risky surgery. And there's no guarantee they'd survive the separation. Then we keep them together until you find a safe way. Mother started. The explosion cut her off. The station rocked violently. Alarms screamed. The lights flickered and died, replaced by emergency reds. Through the windows, Wu saw fire blooming against the stars. "We're under attack," someone shouted. Commander, captain of the Royal Guard, grabbed his weapon. "Protect the Empress and the Princess." Another explosion. Closer this time. The floor beneath them cracked. Wu rolled off the medical bed, his body still weak. One caught him before he fell. Princess cried out. She clutched her side, and Wu felt phantom pain in the same spot. "They're targeting both of us," she gasped. "Someone knows about the bond." "That's impossible," Doctor said. "This just happened. No one outside this room knows." A third explosion tore through the wall. Debris rained down. Through the smoke, Wu saw figures moving. They wore black armor with no markings. One of them raised a weapon, aiming directly at him and Princess. Commander threw himself in front of them. Energy blasts lit up the room. The Royal Guards returned fire, but the attackers kept coming. "They knew," Wu said, realization hitting him. "They knew about the bond before it happened. Someone planned this." Princess grabbed his hand. Her skin was cold, but her grip was strong. "We need to move together." "I can't walk very far," Wu admitted. "Then I'll carry you." And she did. Despite her smaller frame, despite her own injuries, Princess lifted Wu like he weighed nothing. The bond was already making her stronger. They ran through the smoke and chaos, guards surrounding them. Behind them, Wu heard Empress Lyra's voice giving orders. One and Doctor followed close behind. Another explosion. The station's hull breached. Air began rushing out into space. Emergency shields engaged, but they wouldn't hold for long. "The escape pods," one shouted. "This way." They ran toward the evacuation section, but Wu's mind was racing. Someone had known about the bond. Someone had planned for it, which meant everything that had happened, from the assassination attempt to the transfusion, might have been orchestrated. But why and by who? The answer would have to wait. Right now, they just needed to survive. The safe house was hidden on a small moon, tucked between mining operations and fuel depots where no one would think to look. Wu sat at a metal table, his head in his hands. Across from him, Princess stared at her reflection in the window. The red glow in her markings hadn't faded. If anything, it had grown brighter. It had been 2 days since the attack on the medical station. 15 people had died. Another 30 were injured, and someone had nearly succeeded in killing both Wu and the princess at the same time. The door opened. A man in a dark suit walked in, followed by Myra, who worked security on the station. She'd helped them escape. The man looked tired and dangerous. "I'm Agent Human Intelligence," he said, sitting down without invitation. "We need to talk about why someone wants you both dead." "You know why?" Wu asked. "I know some of it," pulled out a tablet and slid it across the table. "Your assignment to the medical station wasn't random. You were selected, specifically chosen." Wu looked at the file. It showed his medical records going back years, tests he'd taken, blood samples collected during routine checkups, all marked with red flags. "Your blood has unique protein markers," continued. "Markers that appear in less than 1% of the human population. Someone identified these markers 5 years ago and has been tracking you ever since." "Tracking me? Why?" "Because they knew, eventually, there would be a situation where human blood could save a life. They've been running experiments, testing compatibility. You were their best candidate." Princess leaned forward. "You're saying the assassination attempt on me was planned to create this situation?" "Partially," pulled up another file. "The assassination was real, but the poison used was very specific. It would kill any except one who received an immediate transfusion of compatible blood. Someone wanted you bonded to a human, Princess." "Who?" Empress Lyra's voice came from the doorway. She entered with Commander and Doctor. "Who would want this?" His expression darkened. "Minister." The name hung in the air like a curse. Wu had heard of a powerful politician who opposed the alliance with humans. He'd been vocal about keeping the species separate. "That makes no sense," Empress Lyra said. "Hates humans. Why would he bond my daughter to one?" To discredit you, pulled up images of news broadcasts. The headlines all showed Princess with her glowing red markings. The words were in script, but the translations appeared below. Royal blood contaminated. Human infection spreads to Princess. Is the royal family still pure? He wanted to make you look weak, continued. A mother who couldn't protect her daughter. A ruler who allowed human contamination into the royal bloodline. He's been using this to gain support in the council. But something went wrong with his plan, Doctor said, understanding dawning. The bond was supposed to make weaker. Instead, it made her stronger. Wu looked at the princess. She did seem different, more energetic, more alive. Her skin had better color than before. One who had been silent until now stepped forward with her scanner. "I've been running tests. Princess isn't just healthy. She's beyond healthy. The human blood gave her advantages that pure don't have." She projected a hologram showing biology. Her healing is 50% faster than normal. She can process oxygen more efficiently. She can survive in both human and atmospheric conditions. The rigid structure of biology combined with the adaptability of human blood created something incredible. "And Wu?" Myra asked. One turned the hologram to show Wu's body. The geometric patterns under his skin were clearer now. "He's changing too. His perception has enhanced. He can see wavelengths of light that humans normally can't. His reflexes are faster. The crystalline structure is reinforcing his cellular walls, making him more resistant to disease and injury." "We're becoming something new," said quietly. "Neither fully human nor fully." "And Minister can't let that be known," said. "If the galaxy learns that humans and can bond like this, that they can make each other stronger, it destroys his entire political platform. So he's trying to kill you before anyone else sees the benefits." Empress Lyra's hands clenched into fists. "How many people are part of this conspiracy?" "We don't know yet, but it's big." Pulled up more files. "We've found evidence of similar blood testing in 12 other human colonies. They've been searching for compatible humans for years. Wu wasn't the only candidate. There are others like me." Wu felt a chill run down his spine. "Potentially hundreds, maybe thousands. People with the right markers who could bond with." Leaned back. "Think about what that means. If it succeeded in making the bond look like a weakness, like a disease, he could have used fear to justify restricting human contact, maybe even restarting the war. But now that we know the bond creates strength, not weakness," Doctor said slowly, "the entire plan falls apart. Unless he silences us first." Finished. An alert sounded. Commander checked his communicator, his face paling. "Your Majesty, we have a problem. A biological weapon has been released on the..." Everyone rushed to the monitors. The news feeds showed chaos. Citizens collapsing in the streets, hospitals overflowing. The weapon targeted the crystalline structure of blood, causing it to fragment and fail. Empress Lyra's hand went to her throat. "How many infected?" "Millions, and spreading fast." Wu watched the screens in horror. Families huddled together, children crying. It was a nightmare. Then he noticed something. "Wait, show me the medical reports." He leaned closer. "The symptoms. They're almost identical to what happened to Princess when she was poisoned." Doctor pulled up the comparison. "You're right, same cellular breakdown, same crystalline fragmentation." One gasped. "Oh no, this weapon was designed using the data from poisoning. They've weaponized it." "But survived," Wu said, his mind racing. "Because of the human blood, the flexibility of human hemoglobin compensated for the rigid structure." Everyone turned to look at him. "You're saying human blood is the cure?" Empress Lyra asked. "Not just a cure," one said, excitement and horror mixing in her voice. "It's the only cure. The weapon specifically targets pure biology, but bonded would be immune. Stood up, then we need to create more bonds, immediately. We can't, Doctor protested. We don't have time to test thousands of humans. We don't know who's compatible, and the bonding process is delicate. If we rush it, people could die. If we don't rush it, my entire species will die, said firmly. She looked at Wu. You saved my life by taking a risk. Now we need thousands of humans willing to take the same risk. Shook his head. You're asking humans to permanently bond themselves too, to change their biology forever. That's a huge sacrifice. I know, Wu said, but I also know humans. When people are dying, when there's a chance to help, we don't hesitate. He stood up, ignoring the dizziness. Doctor, can you create a testing protocol, something fast? Maybe, if I use the markers we identified in your blood as a baseline. She was already working on her tablet. We could screen people in minutes instead of hours. Good, Wu turned to. Contact every human colony, every ship, every station. Tell them we need volunteers. And tell them the truth, added. Tell them they'll be changed forever, that they'll be bound to a partner, but also tell them they'll be saving millions of lives. Myra pulled up communication channels. I'll help spread the word. Empress Lyra watched them work, these humans rushing to save people who weren't even their own species. Something in her expression shifted, softened. Why, she asked quietly, why would humans do this? Wu met her eyes. Because it's the right thing to do. The response was overwhelming. Within 6 hours of the broadcast, over 50,000 humans had volunteered. They came from colonies, ships, and stations across human space. Some were medical personnel. Many were ordinary people, farmers, teachers, engineers, parents. Wu stood in the main hall of the converted cargo station, now serving as a mass medical center. Rows of beds stretched as far as he could see. Humans on one side, on the other, waiting to be matched and bonded. Dr. Park Sung, a specialist in blood diseases, worked beside Doctor at the main screening station. He was a small man with gentle hands and tired eyes. He'd been working for 30 hours straight. The matching process is getting faster, he said, pulling up results on a holographic display. We've identified the key markers: blood type, protein structure, cellular flexibility. It's like matching organ donors but more complex. A young woman approached the desk. Her name tag read. She looked nervous but determined. I'm here to volunteer, she said. Dr. Park Sung scanned her blood sample. The machine beeped. You're compatible, high compatibility actually. Are you sure about this? The bond is permanent. I'm sure. Glanced at the waiting area where a young male sat alone. Someone needs help. I can help, that's enough. Wu watched as was led to a bonding station. The male, whose name was, stood to meet her. They looked at each other across the medical equipment, two strangers about to become permanently linked. Are you afraid? Asked. His voice was formal, stilted. Pure didn't express emotion easily. Yes, admitted, but I'm here anyway. Something flickered in his expression. Respect, maybe. I'm also afraid but grateful. The transfusion began. Wu felt a strange echo through his own bond with Princess. She stood beside him, watching the process with wide eyes. It's beautiful, she whispered. They're choosing to connect, choosing to change themselves to save my people. That's what humans do, Wu said. We adapt, we sacrifice, we help. Across the hall, one worked with a team of researchers, studying the bonds as they formed. She called out excitedly, we're seeing the same patterns. The human blood is stabilizing the systems. The weapon can't take hold when both species' strengths are combined. General, a high-ranking military officer, approached Empress Lyra. He looked shaken. Your Majesty, the reports from the bonded pairs we sent ahead, their blood is curing the infected. It works. How many have we saved? The Empress asked. Thousands so far, but we need more. The weapon is spreading faster than we can cure it. Doctor raised her voice across the hall. We need to increase production. We have enough compatible humans, but the bonding process takes time. Then we work faster. Dr. Park Sung was already adjusting protocols. Parallel processing, multiple stations. We can triple our output. The work continued through the night. Wu moved through the rows of beds, checking on new bonds. Each pair fascinated him. He could see the changes happening in real time. Faces showing emotion for the first time. Humans developing crystalline patterns under their skin. He stopped at one bed where an older human man held hands with a woman. Both were crying. Weren't supposed to cry, but she was. It's okay, the human said softly. I feel it too, the connection, it's strange, but it's good. The woman nodded. I can feel your kindness, your warmth. I've never felt anything like this before. Wu moved on, his throat tight. This was bigger than he'd imagined. These weren't just medical procedures. They were bridges being built between two species. Princess touched his arm. Are you all right? I'm thinking about how this started, he said. A single transfusion to save one life. Now it's saving millions. Your single transfusion, corrected. You didn't hesitate, you just helped. An alert interrupted them. Myra ran up, her face urgent. We have a problem. Minister has made a move. He's broadcasting across the galaxy. They rushed to the communications center. The screens showed his face. He looked calm, powerful, righteous. Citizens of the galaxy, he said in his smooth voice. You have seen the images, humans and being forcibly bonded. This is not medicine. This is invasion, biological warfare. The humans are using this crisis to infect our species, to change us into something we are not. He's lying, Commander growled. He's twisting the truth, corrected. Classic propaganda, make the cure look like the disease. Continued. I call upon all loyal to reject this contamination. Better to die pure than live corrupted. I call upon the Galactic Council to condemn this act and sanction humanity for genetic warfare. The broadcast ended. Silence filled the room. Then Empress Lyra laughed. It was a harsh, bitter sound. He thinks he's won. He thinks fear will overcome gratitude. Will it? Wu asked. Watch. The Empress activated her own broadcast system. This goes to every channel. Her face appeared on screens across the galaxy, but she wasn't alone. Princess stood beside her, red markings glowing, and behind them stood rows of bonded pairs, human and together. My people, Empress Lyra began. Minister speaks of purity, I speak of survival. He speaks of contamination, I speak of evolution. Look at my daughter. The camera focused on. She was dying. A human saved her, and in doing so created something beautiful, something stronger than either species alone. Stepped forward. I am not less because of this bond. I am more. I feel more. I understand more. I am stronger, faster, healthier, and I am not alone. She gestured to the bonded pairs. Thousands of humans have volunteered to save our species. They ask for nothing in return. They simply help because they can. The Empress continued. Release the weapon that is killing our people. We have proof. Transmitted the evidence files. He did this to create fear, to drive us apart, but he failed to understand the strength of cooperation, the power of unity. Dr. Park Sung appeared on screen. The bonding process cures the weapon's effects. It also prevents future infections. Every bonded is immune. This is not contamination. This is survival. So I ask you, Empress Lyra said, her voice strong, do you choose purity or do you choose life? The broadcast ended. For a long moment, nothing happened. Then the communication system exploded with messages. Citizens requesting bonding, colonies asking for help, families begging for the cure. And in the middle of it all, a priority message. Security forces had arrested Minister and his co-conspirators. The conspiracy was broken. Princess grabbed Wu's hand. Through their bond, he felt her relief, her joy, her exhaustion. We did it. Not yet, Doctor called out. We still have millions to save. Back to work, everyone." The bonding continued. Days blurred together. Wu worked until he couldn't stand, then worked some more. He watched as the number of bonded pairs grew. Hundreds became thousands. Thousands became tens of thousands. He saw and working together in the medical bay, their movements synchronized without words. He saw the older human man teaching his partner to laugh. He saw children, both human and playing together while their parents recovered from bonding. And slowly the death count on the stopped rising. Then it started falling. The weapon was losing its grip. 2 weeks after it began, Dr. Park Sung made an announcement. "The crisis is over. We've bonded enough pairs to create herd immunity. The weapon can't spread anymore." Cheers erupted through the medical center. Humans and embraced. Some bonds were only days old, but already they were inseparable. Empress Lyra found Wu sitting alone, staring at his hands. The blue geometric patterns were permanent now, beautiful and strange. "You look troubled," she said, sitting beside him. "I'm thinking about what comes next," Wu admitted. "We have thousands of bonded pairs now, human hybrids. What does that mean for both our species?" The Empress smiled. It was the first genuine smile he'd seen from her. "It means the galaxy just changed forever, and it started with you." 6 months had passed since the crisis ended. Wu stood on the balcony of the Imperial Palace, looking out over a city that sparkled like frozen starlight. The architecture was beautiful and alien, all curves and crystal towers that caught the light of 3 moons. Beside him, Princess wore ceremonial robes that mixed tradition with human design. "Are you nervous?" she asked. "Terrified," Wu admitted. Below them, the plaza was filled with thousands of people, humans and in bonded pairs. They'd come from across the galaxy for today's ceremony. "You'll do fine," squeezed his hand. Through their bond, she sent him waves of calm and confidence. "Just speak from the heart." The doors opened. Empress Lyra emerged, looking regal in her crown of crystal, but her expression was warm now. Months of working with humans had changed her, or maybe it was watching her daughter thrive. "Are you ready?" she asked Wu. "As ready as I'll ever be." They walked together to the front of the balcony. The crowd below fell silent. Cameras from 100 worlds recorded every moment. Empress Lyra spoke first. "6 months ago, my daughter was dying. A human saved her life. That single act of compassion saved millions. Today, we gather to celebrate not just survival, but evolution." She gestured to Wu. This human asked for nothing when he donated his blood. He didn't think about politics or alliances. He simply helped because someone needed help. That is the gift humanity brings to the galaxy. Not weapons or technology, but the willingness to sacrifice for strangers. Wu stepped forward. His voice shook at first but grew stronger. "I'm not a politician or a scientist. I'm just a medical technician who made a choice. But that choice became part of something bigger. Every human who volunteered, who bonded with a partner, they all made the same choice. To help, to connect, to grow." He looked at the bonded pairs in the crowd. "We are something new now, not quite human, not quite. We are both and neither. We are what happens when 2 species choose cooperation over conflict." Princess joined him. "The Galactic Council meets today to discuss what we represent. Some fear us. They see the bonds as a threat to species purity, but we know the truth. Evolution cannot be stopped. It can only be guided." Doctor stepped onto the balcony. She'd been working with one on research. "Our studies show that bonded individuals have extended. Humans in bonds can live twice as long, gain emotional depth that enhances their creativity and problem-solving. The bonds make both species better." One appeared with her scanner. "We've also discovered something incredible. The bonds can be created with willing participants, 2 people who choose to connect. It doesn't require an emergency. It doesn't require matching blood types anymore. We've refined the process." Murmurs ran through the crowd. This was new information. "What are you saying?" someone called from below. "I'm saying," one continued, "that any human and any who want to bond can now do so safely. We've created the protocols. We understand the science." The crowd erupted in discussion. Some cheered, others looked worried. Change was always frightening. Empress Lyra raised her hand for silence. The Galactic Council fears this. They fear that allowing bonds to spread freely will erase the boundaries between species. They want to ban the practice, control it, limit it. She paused, letting the weight of those words settle. "I say no." Her voice rang across the plaza. "I say that any being with free will should be allowed to choose their own evolution. The Council does not own our bodies. They do not control our choices. If a human and a wish to bond, that is their right." Cheers rose from the bonded pairs, but Wu saw the unmixed humans and looking uncertain. This was a huge decision, a permanent change. Not everyone was ready. An older man shouted, "What about tradition? What about keeping our species separate and pure?" Empress Lyra looked at him directly. "I thought the same thing once. I believed purity was strength, but I watched my daughter dying, and I watched a human save her without hesitation. I learned that purity is just another word for stagnation. True strength comes from growth." Princess stepped forward. "My mother is right. 6 months ago I couldn't laugh, I couldn't cry, I couldn't feel joy or sorrow. Now I can. The bond didn't take away my heritage. It added to it. I am more than I was, not less." And climbed onto the stage. The young pair who'd bonded on the first day spoke, his voice now rich with emotion. "I was alone before, complete I thought, but empty. Now I understand companionship, partnership, love." He looked at, "These are gifts worth any price." Nodded. "I was afraid at first, afraid of changing. But change brought me the best friend I've ever had. A partner who knows my thoughts before I speak them. Someone who will stand with me for life." More bonded pairs came forward, sharing their stories. An engineer and a scientist who developed new technology together. A teacher and a scholar creating a new school. A farmer and a botanist who'd crossbred crops that could feed both species. The stories went on and on, each one a testament to what cooperation could achieve. Finally, Agent stepped up. "The conspiracy involved more than Minister. We've uncovered a network across multiple species. They feared human adaptability. They feared what would happen if humans bonded with other species. They tried to turn our greatest strength into a weapon against us." "But they failed," Commander added, "because they didn't understand that true strength comes from unity, not division." Empress Lyra made her final announcement. "Today, I am formally adopting Wu into the royal family. He is now a prince of the empire, and I am establishing the Resonance Institute, dedicated to studying and supporting bonded pairs. Dr. and Dr. Park Sung will lead it." She looked at Wu and, "You two will serve as ambassadors. You will travel to other species, showing them what cooperation looks like, showing them that evolution is not something to fear." Wu felt overwhelmed. "Your Majesty, I'm not qualified." "You're perfectly qualified," she interrupted. "You've already done the hardest part. You showed compassion when it mattered most." The ceremony ended with a celebration that lasted deep into the night. Humans and danced together, sharing food and stories. Some were bonded pairs, others were just friends. The lines between species were blurring. Later, Wu found himself back on the balcony. The palace was quiet now. Most of the guests had left. Princess joined him, bringing 2 glasses of something that sparkled. "What is this?" he asked. "Wine mixed with human champagne, another hybrid creation," she smiled. "It's becoming popular." They drank in comfortable silence. Through their bond, they didn't need words. He felt her contentment, her hope, her love for her people and for him. "Do you ever regret it?" asked quietly. "Giving your blood that day, changing your entire life?" Wu thought about it honestly. His life had changed completely. He could never go back to being just a medical technician. He'd never be fully human again. The crystalline patterns under his skin were permanent. The bond with would last his entire life. "No," he said finally, "I don't regret it. This is better." "Even though you're stuck with me forever," teased. "Especially because I'm stuck with you forever." They watched the moons rise over the crystal city. In the distance, Wu could see the construction beginning on the Resonance Institute, a place where humans and would study together, work together, live together. "What do you think comes next?" asked. "More bonds, more cooperation. Eventually other species will want to join." Wu gestured at the stars. "Imagine it, humans bonding with different species across the galaxy, sharing strengths, covering weaknesses, becoming something greater together." "The Council will fight it," warned. "Let them fight. They can't stop evolution. They can't stop people from choosing connection over isolation." He smiled. "That's what makes humanity special. We don't just adapt to the galaxy. We make the galaxy adapt to us." Leaned against him. "We, not just humanity, you said we." "I did, didn't I?" Wu realized. "I guess I'm not fully human anymore." "And I'm not fully, we're something new." A ship rose from the landing pad below. It would carry the first bonded pairs to other worlds, ambassadors of a new kind of unity. More ships would follow. The bonds would spread. Not everyone would accept it. Some would fight against change until the end, but enough people would choose growth. Enough would choose connection. And that would be enough. "Ready to change the galaxy?" asked. Wu looked at his hands. Human skin marked with crystalline patterns that glowed softly in the moonlight. A symbol of two species becoming one. A symbol of evolution in action. "Ready," he said. They walked back inside together, bonded partners facing an uncertain future with certainty in each other. Behind them, the three moons shone down on a city where two species lived as one, and above it all, the stars waited. The galaxy was about to discover what humanity had always known, that the strongest bonds are forged not through force, but through choice. Not through domination, but through sacrifice. Not through purity, but through connection. Wu had donated his blood to an alien princess. What happened next hadn't just shocked everyone. It had changed the course of galactic history forever. And it had all started with one simple human truth. When someone needs help, you help them. Everything else is just details.